Generation X Paranormal.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Generation X Paranormal.
Hello, everyone.
So, this is a little bit of a different episode. We're kind of condensing some incidents that have happened recently, at least reported recently. I think a couple of these were several years back, but at least they've come up recently. But we're going to be talking about some alien sightings today.
Yes.
Now, there is zero shortage of other content out there about these. We had talked about maybe doing one-on-one episodes for some of this, but it's just, guys, honestly, the content for us really isn't there, and we'll explain why. But we decided to just kind of containerize these a little bit.
Yes.
And kind of break them down, at least what we thought. It's going to be we believe it or not, we tend to have a kind of a format of how we do things. This is not that format at all, okay? Much looser. It's not probably going to be quite as polished. Although I would never say that I'm polished, but anyway, but we're going to kick it off. We're going to have three incidents we're going to talk about. One is going to be the Miami incident. Yeah, that's kind of a pretty big one right now. And then a Brazilian incident. And the one that I'm really interested in, I got to be honest, I waver on, but that's the Jellyfish incident. But if you don't know those, we're going to kind of break it down for you one by one. It's not going to be a total inclusive thing by any stretch of the mean. It's just going to be kind of what we thought, what our interpretations were.
Yes.
And we're going to kick it off with Miami. So, yeah, New Year's Day. Okay, so how this kind of came down was, I think it started off as like a TikTok thing.
Or Instagram post. I think it was an Instagram post.
And it was talking about these 10-foot aliens. And okay, so it started at the Bayside Marketplace, which is South Beach of Miami, or pretty close to South Beach, Miami. And I think the part that got us right away was the fact that like every cop in the city was there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people say. It's like all the police force showed up.
Yeah, and we'll get into it a little bit here in a second, but I think the police department called a special code to like every available cop show up,
right. And Miami's a big city.
It's a huge city, especially South Beach.
To be like a big deal, right?
Yeah, so breaking it down, I'll give you the quote unquote official reason why they were there. So apparently there was these 50 youths out there. Youths. Did you say youths? And they were shooting off fireworks. And apparently someone may have called stating that there was potentially gunfire.
Yeah, or fireworks.
Yeah.
It's all wishy-washy.
Yeah, it's not the greatest information.
No, it's not.
But anyway, I guess some cops initially show up and may or may not have lost control of the situation.
Right.
And apparently they called a code to bring much more cops there.
Yeah, but good Lord.
Yeah, and we're going to pepper this with a lot of video and visuals for you guys to see, which I'm sure you have already. But
yes. But in case you haven't.
Yeah, in case you haven't. So that's kind of the first part of it. Now, there's a couple of parts, but this one other incident, or it's the same incident, but somebody from a very high vantage point filmed a video.
And I think it was from like a condo or something not across the street, but a little bit farther back.
Yeah, well, pretty close though, but yeah. But it's from a very high vantage point. It's extremely grainy, probably because they had to zoom in. And it's of what they claim to be, I should say, of 10-foot aliens walking
around.
Yeah, walking around by this like
in front of the cop cars.
Yeah, in front of the cops car and cops, because I think there's even a couple of cops in the frame. And they're just walking about. Okay, that's the one side. We'll kind of break this down a little bit more too. The other is there's some people that were in the mall. Now this mall. And I have to do a quick shout out to Omar from Omar Gosh TV. I've watched a few of his videos, and trust me, he doesn't need me to help him out because he's got a lot more viewership than we do. But I enjoyed the way he broke it down, because he walks through this place, and it's not an enclosed mall. It's an open air mall. Yeah, and it's not that big.
Right.
Kind of narrow, actually, as you're walking through.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what they claim and what people have said is that 3 people, younger people, kind of clean cut, show up wearing backpacks, and they get to a certain part of the mall, and this particular person was up at the second floor and had a vantage point looking down. Mm-hmm. Said that they had this like DVD player looking thing, like a device.
Yeah.
And when they plugged it in, it activated and created a circular,
like a portal.
Yeah, a circular portal.
Like a portal.
And that these beings came out. I'm not trying to laugh. Look, before we even get too deep into this, you guys should know I believe in aliens and UFOs 100%.
I do too.
You know, I mean,
however,
yeah,
it's the method and the way all this like plays out that has got me like questioning big time.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the incident. And then some people have said that phones didn't work because there was some kind of
which is why there's no video of
this happening.
And the store cameras, I guess, like the cameras in the mall. There's no video, or it's been like taken.
Confiscated or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the container of it.
Right.
Oh, and incidentally, cops came out on their Instagram and said,
I can confirm to you all here today right now that there are no aliens in Miami in Bayside Marketplace at the moment.
Yeah, I was dumb. I wouldn't have said that, because that only added to it.
Why would you say at this time?
Anyway. All right, so there's a quick, very quick down and dirty of it. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts.
I mean, the video, and we've shown it on here, of the creature walking, that they think from high vantage point. Mm-hmm. To me, it just looks like a person, maybe a tall person, but something they said was it could be the shadow was making it look bigger, and I could see that.
Yeah.
And I mean, nobody was responding to it.
No.
You know what I mean? So they say it's probably just a person walking. It is weird about all the cop cars, though. Yeah. Because if it were like a group of 50 kids, I agree, you're going to want backup. If there's 50 teenagers and they've got guns or something like that, and they're shooting fireworks and stuff,
yeah,
you're going to want backup. But the amount of police that were there,
that's some backup.
It seems like overkill, unless they were all just bored.
But on New Year's Day,
and here's the thing, and I don't know if people that live in big cities their entire life are going to get this, but people that have lived in small towns like I have, whenever a big incident goes down in the small town, the entire police force shows up because they don't have anything else to do. So that's not too far off base. But for Miami, it seems like that was definite overkill, unless they just expected. Here's the devil's advocate part. If they thought, the mall was full of people, and they've got 50 kids that are, I guess didn't they say something about like being in a gang or something, and they think they're like shooting. They don't know how many guns there are. There could be a lot of civilian casualties.
Sure.
I mean, if that mall is full of people. So that's the only thing that I could think, okay, there would be a huge amount of police force present for something like that. Now, I'm not going to say it couldn't happen, because, UFO technology, we don't have any idea what they could do, right?
Right.
So camera's not working, phone's not working. That's plausible in a situation. Where I have the problem is this so-called clean-cut people putting out an object that looks like a DVD player. A portal pops up, and I think, didn't they say like they saw a leg come out or something like that, and that's where the aliens came from?
Yeah.
If this is going to happen, are you going to do this in the middle of a public place? I don't understand that concept of it.
I don't either.
Like, why shut down the cameras and all that and do that in the middle of a public place? If you don't want it seen, why go there?
Yeah. And
what are these people? What were they supposed to be then? That doesn't make sense to me.
No, you're right. And
It's not anything we've ever heard from like alien encounters or abductions or anything. Usually the stories somewhat match up in what happens in the story. This is like you got here and then way over here.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a big public appearance.
Yeah.
I just don't understand what the benefit for the whatever it is would be for something like that, unless it's just shock value.
Oh, they got shock value for sure.
But you know what I mean? And I would have thought, like, there's not really any accounts online. There's like a couple. They've been silenced by everybody. In this day and age, it's hard to be silenced. They could have got it out there really quick, and then, you know what I mean?
Right.
Some people would have seen it right away before they would have gotten to it. I don't know how much I believe in this.
Yeah.
In this one.
And add insult to injury, like I was going to say, one of the guys that initially reported it later said he was trolling and said that he wasn't even in Miami at that time. And the one guy that I find interesting, he's a graffiti artist, right? And he goes through showing the hole, the portal and everything and how they created it. And I mean, he seems really passionate about it, but it's really tough to gauge. And, you know, looking at it, I guess for me, I'm very much so lowest common denominator person.
Right.
And I want to believe, I try to believe everybody for face value because I hate, you know, having an assumption of somebody without knowing them because I hate that about people thinking that way about me.
Right.
But I think that I find it difficult to believe because it you're right, it doesn't add up. There's a lot of things that, you know, a DVD player and a portal and all these sort of things. Look, what I do for my 24 or my 7-day a week job feels like 7 day a week. I'm in technology. I'm in IT, and I've been doing it for so long. And I can tell you right now that even if you wanted to suppress video from all these cell phones, all these other things, even the greatest plan with the greatest software, you're not going to get 100%. Something's going to leak out.
Well, and didn't they even say like the people looked like other teenagers or something?
Yeah.
So they don't even look like Men in Black, right? Which
Yeah.
you would expect or something like that. Unless all these people have been flashy thingied.
Yeah.
Why would they not come out and say something? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I used to love the flashy
Yeah,
thing.
do you flashy thing me? Whoa. Been married a long
couple,
time.
yeah. I don't know. I'm not gonna 100% say that no, it couldn't be.
Yeah.
Because there's always that possibility. We don't know everything that happens, and we weren't there. We're going by what we're seeing, you know, like you guys are. So, but my opinion is that it had nothing to do with aliens. Yeah. Now, could it have done with something else that maybe they're just trying to keep under wraps? Possibly. I mean,
Maybe.
we have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, the fact there's that much of a police presence, that was wild. Mm-hmm. I mean, that part doesn't add up. You know, look, and they don't owe us an explanation right now. If they're trying to figure something out, they're figuring something out. But if you're a police department, I wouldn't go on any of the social media platforms and say at this moment.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's like that.
Yeah.
Unless it was just poor word choice, like he's already got it in his head. Like people are thinking this. Well,
or maybe he's joking.
Not at this time. He could be. Yeah. I mean, he didn't look like he was joking, but he could have been.
Yeah. I mean, look, guys, we're not going to go too much further into this because there's so much other stuff out there. But this is just sort of our perspective on it.
Right.
Do I think there was an alien there? I don't think so. And that footage that they claim there is actually somebody who cleaned it up quite a bit. And you can see it's like 2 or 3 people walking. They're in step, which is a little weird, but they kind of debunked that a bit. I guess I find it hard to believe that of all these cameras, nothing got spotted.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to go as far to say something weird didn't happen.
Right.
And if it was an active shooter, typically there's like a citywide thing that comes on your phone that says, hey, don't go down here. There's an active shooter and stuff like that. And to my knowledge, that didn't happen. If it did, anybody in Miami or whoever was there can tell me. But
the way that people were running and screaming, it looked like some like what you see videos of when there's a shooter or something.
Yeah.
The way they were running. Of course, I guess if they saw an alien,
yeah, they run too.
But
Yeah.
I think or people would be more interested in that. But it was the way they were scattering.
Yeah.
Made me think that that's probably the most likely.
Yeah, I agree.
But we could be completely wrong. I mean, it's just my opinion at this moment. Unless more footage comes out, more testimony comes out. Just currently, as of right now, that's how I feel about it.
Same here. I think there may be something that's going on with the large police presence. But I don't know if I buy that, that there was this portal that opened up, and I don't know. I think if something like that would have happened, that place would be locked down and there'd be a lot of other stuff going on. But again, we weren't there. If you guys were, please comment. Of course, I'm sure you will if you don't agree, and that's okay. That's part of our show. It's just, that's kind of how we feel about it.
Yeah. Or email us at info@gxparanormal.com and give us your story.
That's right.
And maybe change our mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to the next one.
All right. The second incident we're going to talk about is in Brazil.
Yep.
Okay, so it's off an island in Brazil, and there's this video of these two human-like creatures on the top of a hill. And there's also another video of them like coming down the hill and going up the hill, I think. Yeah. But this actually came out a few days after the Miami incident. So they saw the Miami incident saying there's 10-foot tall aliens, right? So then the person that took this released this.
Yep.
Okay. And so basically what they're saying is that this spot on the top of the hill is really difficult to reach anyway.
Sure.
And they said that it was moving in a human-like manner, but that the shrubs, like the, shrubbery, the trees or whatever, only came up to the knees of whatever this was. Okay, we'll come back to that later. Okay, and they also said that it was moving too fast, like coming down the hill, that it got down the hill in like 2 minutes, and a human couldn't do that. Okay,
right.
So, we'll put it up here. We've seen the footage of it. To where they are, I don't know how they would know it's 10 foot tall, for one. Just kind of like the Miami thing.
Right.
From a distance that far away, how you would know the height. And you're not going to know the height of those shrubs.
No, I agree.
Now, the speed thing, I mean, in the video we saw of it going up the hill, it didn't look like they were going that fast to me.
No.
But I think the comment was about it coming down the hill was fast, and I don't think we saw anything like that.
No, I don't think I saw that
there was
going down the hill.
Video of that conveniently.
Right.
I mean, that's really all that there is. I mean, this is what was seen by like maybe a handful of people.
Right.
To me, it just looks like a really tall person. There's two of them. Okay, so one's like kind of standing up, and you guys will see this, and one's kind of in the background, and the arm movement does look a little weird, but it kind of looks like to me like somebody and it looks like a man, would reach into his pocket. If you've got really long arms,
yeah,
okay, like if you're a taller person and you kind of put it out to the side and you reach in your pocket, that's what it reminded me of. And then later in the video, it looks like they've got both their hands up, but it looks like they're looking through binoculars or taking pictures through a camera or something. I mean, it's at a distance.
Yeah, it is quite a distance.
So, and it looks like maybe they're wearing a hat, like a ball cap or something like that. And there was actually a video that came out from an Italian basketball player. Yeah. And he said, "I'm the one in the video."
Yeah, he just flat out says it's me.
Now, I mean, I don't know. That's what he says, but is he just saying that? But he's got pictures of him on top of a hill taking pictures in Brazil. So, and he's very tall.
Extremely tall.
So my opinion on this whole thing, and this is why we're going over really quick, it's even before I heard or saw that this guy claimed it, I was like, no, that's a human. It's just a tall person.
Yeah.
Because there's no way for them to judge how tall it is, how tall those trees are. And because they said it's difficult to get to, there's no way it's a human. Well, there's, very athletic people that can get to other places.
Sure.
People can't get to. So if it's difficult to get to, and these people have never been up there, they don't know how tall those shrubs are in the first place.
Yeah, I think part of and I agree. I think the other part that I think gets a little bit lost is that sometimes, and I think when this video is taken, it's either at dusk or at dawn. It's tough to tell. Probably dusk. It's getting later in the day.
Yeah, I think so.
And there's shading.
Right.
And I think that comes to play too. And I think some of it's sort of optical illusion.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, when I first saw it, I'm like, holy crap, that's a tall person. And then that like weird arm angle and everything,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay. I saw the video of the guy that said it's him. I'm like, okay. So let me play that back in my mind, devil's advocate. Is it him? And I think about, okay, he's going up and he's grabbing his phone out of his pocket or whatever and taking pictures. It's dark on this side, their vantage point. It's lit on the other side. So I would think kind of like an optical illusion. I don't know if refraction is the right word for it, but
Yeah.
kind of like the light bends in different ways. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's kind of what happened here.
And tricks your eyes.
Yeah, it tricked their eyes. They thought this guy squirted up the mountain, down the mountain. I'm assuming guy, we don't know, but
Yeah. It appears to be.
yeah. And I think that I think that was it. I think it was just kind of a trick on the eyes. I don't think there was any oddity going on. Again, Brazil's got a lot of UFO incidences, and I think that
they do.
there's a ton of good stuff out there. I guess I just don't think this one's it.
No, and just like we said with the Miami thing, why are they on top of a hill just standing there? It doesn't make sense. Like, you don't see types of stuff like that. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's anything
No.
UFO or alien related. It's all human for sure. And I think that in these, if they had already heard, and this is something I don't know, I'm just assuming, if they had already heard of the Miami incident about these 10-foot aliens, and then they see this, it's already in their head like, oh, these things exist. And it's easy to just be like, wow, I see one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's tough to say because, the people that took it, they're definitely like startled. So
Yeah,
to
they
them,
are. To them, yeah.
to them, that vantage point, it does look kind of weird.
It does look weird. I mean, I had to watch it several times.
Yeah.
Especially the arm thing was weird. But then I
Yeah.
kept thinking about, these really tall, like basketball players and stuff. When you see them out on the court, because a lot of them are thin and they got those thin arms. And when they move, they are kind of gangly looking.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? And when they're up on top of it, at that kind of distance, it kind of does look like that. And to me, it looks like he puts his hand in his pocket. I mean,
Yeah, he
people may
does.
disagree with me, but
yeah.
and the second one, it definitely looks like they're looking through binoculars
Or
or
phone or
camera
something.
or taking pictures because he's standing so close to the edge. That's what you do when you take pictures.
Yeah, that's true. And if you're an alien, why the heck would you have to climb the mountain to take a picture of them? I mean, aren't you flying in, taking all the pictures you want?
Well, why would they use a camera? They probably have more.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then the second form or whatever is behind, but it looks like it's sitting
Yeah.
to me. Like they're taking a rest. They're taking a break on their hike.
Right. Yep.
That's my opinion. I don't think it's anything at all.
Couple of tall hikers. That's our thought.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? I mean, like I said, you guys can hit
We
us
could
up.
be wrong.
Yeah, we could
I'm
be wrong.
always open for being wrong. I mean, we don't know. We weren't there. We didn't experience it. It just, to me, what I've seen of
Yeah.
the video, to me, it doesn't look like anything.
No. At least not what they think it is anyway.
No.
But again, we could be wrong. We're open to being wrong.
Yes.
So hit us up. Let us know what you think. And yeah, let's get on to the next one.
All right.
Okay, so this last one. So I'm a prior military man, if you didn't know. And this one, I got to admit, this is the one where I've really kind of, I'll tell you guys, before we recorded this video, I was flip-flopping on the whole thing, okay? And I'll explain you why. And this is the jellyfish incident. And this was, I guess, broke on News Nation. It may have been on a few other things. I just happened to see it on YouTube. Well, I'm sure like everybody else. And there was a couple of people, very, very well-known people in the UFO community, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, that reported this. But mainly Jeremy Corbell came on and released some footage of a UAP. So the military, the Pentagon, designated this UAP. Now, this is an unidentified aerial phenomenon is what that stands for. And it shows, and we're going to put this up, it shows an image of almost like a translucent, I guess, object floating through a military, I guess for people who don't know, it's called a fob, but it's a base, basically.
Right.
And what's interesting is it's done with a thermographic. So it kind of looks like it's a forward infrared, okay? And it's actually on a balloon. It's something that they put up there. It's for all this surveillance so they can keep an eye. It's a bird's eye view of what you would want to, have accountability for. And what's interesting is it, as it's going through the base, you can see it kind of changes colors a little bit.
Yeah.
It is translucent, and it keeps the same trajectory and speed. It doesn't go up. It doesn't go down. I assume this is in Iraq, and I can tell you that it's not completely without wind. Okay.
Yeah.
And nothing behaves that way. It just, you don't see that. Let's take.
It's like it's floating.
Yeah.
That's the way it looks.
Right. And it just maintains this really cool speed. And what I find interesting is that it was corroborated by the people that actually watched it and reported it.
Yeah.
And I think if I remember correctly, he even states that they called it the spaghetti monster. Okay. So there's a lot of interesting things that there's this correlation. And this is an older video, by the way. I don't remember what year.
I think it was 2018.
Yeah, 2018.
So it's been a while since this happened.
Which I'm surprised it's even out. I have no idea how Jeremy got this or how it was leaked. But yeah, I find it very interesting. And just of recent, at time of this recording, there's a second video that's come out of this. Yeah. And apparently this is like a 30-minute video of it going into the water, out of the water. And it, with the second video, and I'll put it on here too, this thing is moving.
Yeah. And didn't they say it was underwater for like 7 minutes, something like that?
Right. 7 minutes or 17. I can't remember what it was.
7 or 17.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there.
Yeah,
but,
I can't remember.
But that part hasn't been released yet.
No.
But this thing, it's shot in like well, we don't know. We assume it's kind of like an almost like a phone, kind of like that Instagram kind of looking way. But you see this thing moving with a purpose. So it changed speed. That's the part that got me.
Yeah.
Before we recorded this, I was almost ready to jump on here and go, I don't know, guys. Until I saw this, now I'm like, Well,
I first saw the video a while back, and I just thought, oh, it's another goofy video, you know.
Right.
But then it got a lot of attention, and I kept watching it. And then I noticed that there's soldiers walking.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I had said to you right before that, I said, well, wouldn't they see that? This is a big base. There's got to be guys out walking around. Wouldn't they see this thing? And they do not react to it.
No.
And then we find out that it's a thermo camera.
Right.
So that you can't see it.
Right. It was translucent.
Just with your, with your eyes. So, I don't know. It's such a weird shape.
Yeah. And I think
it's not like anything that we've heard of before.
No, and I know there's videos out there about people breaking this down like a Star Trek thing. Fine. You want to have fun with it, it's fine. But I find it interesting that it was translucent. It only came up on thermal. Now, that doesn't mean that the people walking around there don't have the ability to see it. It's just they're not getting alerted to it. Right. There is some technology given to people on patrol that could or could not allow them to see these sort of things. But that's why that thing is in the air. It's meant for this sort of thing. Things that, and that's why it's thermal. I think the part that gets me is that it's changed speed. And I'm really hoping that at some point we get to see the whole 30 minutes of this thing.
Right.
I guess that's probably one of those things that could take time and how
A
it gets
little bit here and a little bit
a little
there.
bit here, a little bit there. But I guess for me, I find it interesting that it took that long to come out, and that it does seem it's different. If you haven't seen it by now, it's not like anything you've ever seen before.
No.
And, at this point, I think the Pentagon, and especially the government, especially in this time of year, I shouldn't say of year, in this time, they're kind of just letting this stuff come out. It seems like they're at this point where they're just like, okay, we can't keep some of this quiet anymore. And we had Preston Dennett on here. And we talked about that they're kind of reaching that point that they got to start letting some of this out. And I don't know. It just, you always think of a typical UFO, UAP as a circular object
Disc or
a
the
disc,
tic tac.
or the tic tac. And I know these jellyfish UFOs have been out there before. I guess they're just not as mainstream, I guess.
I had never heard of it, though. This is the first for me. And, I know it sounds really, I guess, kind of dumb. But I kept thinking, like, if it's being under the water, maybe it needs to look like a jellyfish.
What? I mean, that's
I
not
know that
dumb.
sounds kind of stupid.
That's actually not. I mean,
But,
that's
a lot of people are, like, talking about it being used for surveillance because they think that we can't see it. And maybe don't know that we have the technology to be able to see it. And that way it can kind of, and it's interesting because isn't this base in Iraq? Isn't it like
that's what we assume? I don't know for sure. I don't know if Jeremy said that or not.
Isn't it a nuclear? Not nuclear, but
no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it wouldn't be for that. It's just.
But surveilling a military compound.
Oh
where, what we know and what we've learned from Preston and actually read about a million times is they don't want us using nuclear weapons. They don't want us destroying the earth, and they're surveilling what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been seen a lot around military bases.
Yeah.
I mean, Roswell.
Yeah.
I mean, all these types of places, just watching what we're doing. I mean, that it's not too far out of reach to think that that's what this was, and maybe it's advanced technology for them, and they just think we can't see them.
Yeah, I mean, that all makes sense. I mean, so how this is caught is it's called an aerostat, and it goes up there and it takes these pictures. So yeah, they may not necessarily know that. I mean, they may know it's out there, but they may not know exactly everything that we can see.
Right.
But no,
It's just the shape is so interesting. And you can see, I mean, you see through it, so you see the buildings behind it, but then you see the colors change. So it's changing color. It's not the buildings changing.
I hate.
It's such a weird, like.
You know what it reminded me of? And I hate saying it. Do you remember The Predator?
I didn't like those movies.
Well, anyway, The Predator, before you get to see him, he's got like this translucent kind of look. You can see things behind him.
But he changes color.
But he changed. Well, it doesn't necessarily change color, but he camouflages with the rest of it. But the way it looks, you know what I mean? So that's what I immediately started thinking about. And I know this is dumb, but the Predator was an alien.
Yeah.
So I know, guys. I know. But just hear me out. This is the one where I am really struggling to be on the fence. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm about like 50-50 right now.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have mentioned something about, well, it's not necessarily alien surveillance. It's surveillance from, other countries. Okay. I think that's a little bit far reaching. There's no way they're that advanced.
No.
They always like to make Russia the bad guy or, one of those places. But there's no way they have that kind of tech. Russia's in the middle of a war right now. Do you think they're really going to?
Yeah, if they had that technology, they'd be using it right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, that's what. But this is from 2018,
Yeah.
so this would have been before that. But
right.
I don't know. And the shape is just so odd.
Yeah, that's the part that really.
It's just throwing me way off. The other two for me were kind of definitive.
Yeah,
like, I can't get there with them. But this one is just. It's really up in the air for me.
It didn't hit my radar the way this one does.
No.
And I tried to look at it from a non-veteran perspective, because anything that happens with the military and stuff like that, I generally have a little more interest in. This one, I'm like, okay, let's take a step back. Just look at it through a normal eyes. Not that, you try to analyze it as a veteran, which is hard to do, but it's the one that to me is like, wow, that is the one that I can't really wrap my head around. At least not yet. Now, if they show us the whole 30-minute video and I'm like, I can see it from beginning to end, then you go, maybe there's something else.
Right.
Maybe you look at this and go, perspective, or maybe this or that, but it was translucent and it looked like it went from like black to clear, and it just, I don't know, guys. This is where you get to be a part of this. Tell us what you think. I mean, we're just like you guys. We're just trying to hammer this out. We absolutely don't claim to have all the answers. I certainly don't. But this is the one that I am. If we had a stamp, like some of those other shows do, faked, and then this one's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying the other two are faked. I'm just saying that, or debunked or whatever. I don't know. This is the one that I can't wait to learn more about. Right. And it comes from some very trusted sources.
Exactly. And the fact that it had to kind of get smuggled out.
Yeah.
And they said that it was confiscated from the people that took the videos like immediately.
Right.
So whenever that happens, there's usually something to it.
No, of course there is. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
I'm on the fence. I would imagine most people are right now with this.
Yeah, that one's. I think that's because it's just not written yet. We don't have all of it yet.
No, and that's a problem because you don't get the full picture. It's easy to go one way or the other. So I don't know.
I'll tell you what, guys. If we get the full picture at some point, we will do this over again, and maybe we'll actually do a full episode on it because
it could be years though. The way it's sounding like it's just going to be here's a little tidbit, here's a little tidbit.
Gosh, I hope not.
Sit on this for a while. Sit on this for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know why they do it that way.
No, I don't either, and it just could be part of an agreement that Jeremy has with the person that I don't know. It's tough to say, and I think he may have even mentioned that at one point. But when George Knapp and and some of these people release this stuff, like I said, these are heavily trusted sources. It's not like some guy just in his backyard goes, "Hey, I found this." This is serious stuff. This is next level.
Yeah,
this is MUFON level.
Yes,
and. You also look at the government has its own agency now too, Arrow, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher this, but I'm going to read it because can't do it without reading it. But it's All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. I guess that wasn't that bad. I could do it, but it's set up by the Secretary of Defense. So we're talking these people have an entire government agency now that has to monitor this stuff. So I don't know. This is definitely that one out of the three that I'm saying, guys. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe. I'm more on the positive that it could be something than the negative on this one. Yeah. So reverse it from the first two. All right, guys. Hit us up in the comments. Again, the whole like, subscribe, hit the, notification bell type stuff. Seriously, please do. It does help us a lot. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, please follow. But that's it. Anything else you want to add on these three? No, I think I've said all I need to say. Without all the information, it's kind of hard, but that's just kind of our take on it. Yeah, that's our spin. What's yours? Leave us a comment. Let us know. All right. And make sure and tune in next week. We've got a really good guest for you, but we're not going to spoil it. No, we are not going to spoil it because it is next level stuff. But anyway, we'll see you next week. All right. See you next week. All right.
Music by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Check out our YouTube at Generation X Paranormal. Also, check out our Facebook, Generation X Paranormal Podcast. Love to have you. See you then.